Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for December 14th. Looking at the US Japanese yen pair, this particular pair had a very large range on Friday, but did pull back to close just a little bit down for Friday's session. We do have a gap that occurred at the open. If you notice, we closed here on Friday. This opened up here just a few minutes ago at the open. It's already filled the gap. It looks like this pair is going to be headed down, which, you know, if you've drawn your trend lines, we got a break of it. Even if you go further back several weeks, which I indeed would do, you still get a break below, you know, those those trend lines that occurred on Friday. Now, it did pull back and close above them, but nonetheless, it was definitely tested, and I could definitely see us testing those same trend lines during this session. You know, taking this trade down to the 90.45 area, especially since we filled the gap and filled it so quick. I could definitely see us going down and testing those support areas again. So that if you want to grab a few right now, it'd be about a 45 pip move, roughly 40 pip move. You could do so and probably do pretty well. Now let's switch over. Well, first we need to go over the ranges. I'm looking for this particular pair to range between 93.65 on the high side, on the lower side 90.13. Look for some resistance to come in around 92.10, and on the downside along around 91.00. Now we've already kind of blown through that. If you were watching a little bit earlier, it did come down and touch it and kind of bounce a little bit. So we did hit a little bit of support there, but you know, the market's pretty wide open, especially after we get past those trend lines. Probably look for some more support to come in around the 90.45 area like we talked about earlier. Now looking at the Euro-USD pair, this particular pair moved higher during Friday's session. It did fill the gap between the open to the high as predicted by our overextended indicator, which is this blue dot that you see. I am expecting this particular pair to move between, on the higher side, 135.11 and on the lower end 128.68. Now look for some resistance to come in around 13500 and look for support to come in around 132.43. Now let's switch over to the pound US dollar pair. This particular pair is tracking sideways for the most part. It closed lower on Friday's session after making a new high, but it did close lower. I am expecting it to range between 152.05 and 145.84. Now look for some resistance to come in around 150.50 and look for support around 145.84 for this particular pair. Now taking a look, actually first I wanted to go over the pound US dollar on the weekly chart. If you notice, we did form an inside bar for this particular for last week, and we are looking for this particular pair to move lower. The trend is definitely to the downside. You know, can look for a break, draw your trend lines, and look for a break below our low here that was created during this session. If we get a break of it, I'm not sure that we will, but if we do get a break of it, that's the 144.60 mark. I believe is actually 1.4466 to be exact, but if you want to look to go short around the 1.4460 area, that would be probably prudent. And look for first exit. If you look back in history, looking for support, we find it at 143.33. That's a difference of roughly 127 pips. Now, what I would do also, and I haven't done, I'd probably draw a trend line from this particular low down to this low, possibly hitting this low, and look for that line that's going to be created, that trend lines, and look where it's going to intersect if you just draw down from there, and that would be another exit to look for. Now switching over to the US Swiss, this particular pair, let me get back to the front of the chart here. This particular pair, I'm looking for it to move between 119.59 and on the lower side 116.63. Now look for some resistance to come in around 118.36 and look for some support around 117.38, which we're getting close to, another 10 pips or so. We're running into previous consolidation. If this pair continues down somewhere between where it's at now, around the 117.50 area, and down even as low as the 113.90s, all this area is previous area where it moved sideways for a while, for a couple of weeks. So you may want to keep that in mind as you look for this pair to go lower. I do believe it is headed lower, but just keep that in mind that we will hit support, I believe, fairly soon. Now, looking ahead, we have the Reserve Bank of Australia releasing their minutes from their board meeting for December. That's being released at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And that pretty much does it for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.